Hey there guys, PortalMaster9351 here, and in today's video I have got some interesting stuff to talk about in regards to some potentially credible PS5 and PSVR 2 leaks. Now, you might be wondering what makes this credible. First up, I'm going to talk about why we should actually believe this leak slash rumor and why it could potentially be true. You know, new leaks and rumors are coming out every week. How do we know that this one is actually credible? The person making this claim stated prior to the announcement that Sony would not be attending E3, Sony would not be attending E3. So that automatically gives this person a lot of credit for any potential future claims that they have. It's not like they just made some random prediction early. No. They actually basically were like, okay, look, Sony's not coming, and yeah. So this potentially has some credibility. It's not 100% confirmed by any stretch of the imagination. What they're saying does sound plausible, but let's actually jump into breaking down what they said. So first up, just a baseline. This is talking about the PS5 as well as a brand new PSVR 2, meaning that, well, the new PlayStation is actually centered around a virtual reality experience. We'll get into that in a second. Release date that is rumored in this little set of rumors is 2020. No specific time span given. Could be the beginning, could be the end, could be the middle. Honestly, who knows? Kind of after the Nintendo Switch launch, it looks like companies probably won't worry about trying to do holiday releases anymore. So honestly, we have no idea when this could be, and there's nothing actually stated in this leak about when that's going to be. So when is this going to be revealed, I should say? It's going to be revealed according to this leak in mid-2019. And that's interesting because, you know, they've been confirmed now to be skipping E3. So I don't know at what event they would announce this at, and then supposedly at PlayStation Experience they would supposedly expand upon it. That's not stated in the leak, but it is kind of just, you know, assumed based on the information that is actually given here. Now, this new PlayStation is supposed to be a monster, as it is described by the person who leaked it, and it supposedly has a Ryzen 8 core and a price tag of $500. So that's pretty interesting. It's supposed to be a pretty powerful console. For $500, not a bad console price. It's, you know, it's to be expected, honestly. Nothing unusual there. Pretty much everything is still making sense. See, here's where it gets a little sketchy for me, though. See, supposedly the PS5 is supposed to be VR-centric, and what I mean by that is the breaker box that is currently needed for the PSVR, that external box, no, that's built in to the PS5, meaning that basically you have the architecture needed to attach the headset with the base console. That's pretty big because it implies that they've invested enough into this console in terms of hardware that you're just ready to get the headset. That's literally all you need to actually start playing. Now, if they do get rid of the breaker box for a new version of the PSVR, that'd be great. It's not a selling point because, I mean, let's be honest, I feel like most people that wanted the virtual reality headset probably weren't turned off by the fact that you needed that external box, but it's still a nice upgrade. So it also is supposed to have this new virtual reality system. It's supposed to have a built-in camera, and apparently Sony is actually testing virtual reality gloves, which is an interesting concept. As well, there's going to be new motion controllers according to this leak. So that is a lot of virtual reality stuff coming with this PlayStation 5, and there's actually more details given on the virtual reality aspects of this console than just the regular gameplay aspects of this console. Additionally, this leak does state that there will be several games that come out for both the PS4 and PS5 that have already been announced. From some of the ones that are actually named in this particular leak are Death Stranding, Last of Us, and Ghost of Tsushima. Those games are supposedly going to release not only on the PS4, but also the PS5. There is no mention as to whether or not there's any form of backwards compatibility with this new console, so that's kind of interesting. One thing that this leak does say, it's kind of random, but could give us an idea as to whether or not this leak is credible, states that Anthem is not going to be released in February 2019. It apparently is a mess, as it's described by the person that leaked it. So, with the fact that Anthem is supposed to come out so soon, if this release date does get pushed back again, this automatically gives this leak so much more credibility, because then not only has this leaker gotten correct the Sony E3 announcement, but also a delay of another game, meaning that this person is, I mean, two for three automatically, meaning that that third claim does get more credibility. Doesn't mean it's going to confirm it if Anthem does turn out to be delayed. It doesn't mean that automatically the PS5 is some type of VR monstrosity, but it does give this leak more credibility. PSVR has done pretty well, but it would be very surprising to me if Sony did actually go this all in with virtual reality equipment. I know that Sony is trying to pursue virtual reality. Virtual reality is, in my opinion, the future of gaming. I think Ready Player One is actually a little more realistic than we actually all think it is, and I do think that eventually we will move that way in terms of gaming. However, I would honestly be surprised if they did go this all in with virtual reality with the next iteration of consoles. That's just me personally, though. It could be that Sony really thinks they have something with this PSVR 2. They could be trying to actually directly compete with things like Oculus Rift and HTC Vive with this new architecture. I mean, if the PS5 really is built for virtual reality, it would make a lot of sense. When they revealed the PS4 Pro, they did talk a lot about how that console was supposed to support virtual reality. It was a big supposed selling point of that new console. I don't know if that's why people actually bought it, but at least Sony was marketing it as a VR console, and I think that with that in mind, it wouldn't be as surprising if they really did go this all in with virtual reality in the next console iteration. But what seems really interesting to me is that we've got a ton of rumors right now that Microsoft is working on disk driverless consoles for their new iteration of Xboxes. So it's going to be really interesting to me if we end up with two branching types of consoles, where instead of the Xbox and PS4, or PlayStation, whatever, trying to actually directly compete with each other, they become complements to one another, is potentially the future that we could end up with. A, more cloud-based game streaming service with Microsoft, and a more virtual reality-centric focus with PlayStation and Sony, and then we end up with Nintendo over there in the corner doing their own thing with the Switch, where you can take it wherever you want to. It's going to be really interesting to me if we do end up with this split in terms of the consoles, because then it's not going to be like Microsoft and Sony are directly trying to be the most powerful console, but rather the most useful, most entertaining console, and it's going to come down to, do you want that traditional console gaming experience, or do you potentially want a more virtual reality focused experience? It's still going to be interesting to me, though, marketing a console, marketing a $500 console as a virtual reality machine, even if it is still a regular console, when you still have to go buy that external headset. Can Sony justify that price point potentially for a console that is meant to run virtual reality that you can't actually run virtual reality on unless you buy a separate $300 headset? Can it justify it? That's going to be the question, because if it can't, then you're now looking at an $800 set for virtual reality PS5. Could be a mess. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting, and I'm really curious to see if this leak does end up being true, because as someone who does love virtual reality but doesn't have a PC that can actually handle something like a Vive or an HT or a Rift, it's going to be interesting to see if this ends up being true, because I'll probably definitely pick up the PS5 over the Xbox if this does end up being true, but I can't say that that would be the same for most gamers. I don't know, though. Tell me down in the comments whether or not you think this is true. I will leave a link in the description to this website where I got this information from. This leak was originally posted on Reddit, so who knows. Anyways, that is all I have for you guys today. This has been PortalMaster9351. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and shout out to all my patrons on Patreon, especially the Collector Creepypasta and Portal Power TV. See you guys next time.